not, they can have access later. So the purpose of this webinar is really to show you how very specific things work together. So everybody knows that I'm a nurse, you know, I'm a nutritionist, but I consider myself a human body specialist because I've been specializing in the body for almost 4 decades now. So I understand how pathways really do impact. There's intrinsic factors and there's extrinsic factors. So we hear a lot about how gut health is connected to 85% of your diseases. It's more like 100%. And I'm going to show you how that works today. So when we talk about pain and inflammation, we are talking about gut health. We are talking about cortisol levels. We are talking about diet and lifestyle changes that are really important. So the slideshow will keep me on track, but pain is a very natural process in the body. Inflammation, it happens really in response to stress. Pain is from injury, but inflammation occurs because there's some kind of stress or injury or toxin that's putting your body at injury. So the body responds with stress. It activates that cortisol to repair tissue damage or get rid of those toxins or things that are offending our body. So pain also is very subjective. So if I ask someone what your level of pain is, for some person, they might say 2, another person might say 12. So what subjective means, it's whatever the person says it is, whenever they say it is. So there are different things that affect the severity and the intensity of the pain, and that's largely impacted by endorphins and signals between the brain and the gut. The gut does activate pain receptors like our endorphins, so that will impact your pain perception, and by that I mean the severity in which you feel it. So there's acute pain. We know that that can happen. You bump your knee and ow, that hurts, or you stub your toe, which I'm really good for. And then there's chronic that can be days, weeks, months, and even years. And those are the ones that are really debilitating and really can lead to emotional distress, physical, mental, and all of these things really do increase the inflammation in your body. Depression, anxiety, these all impact those cortisol levels, because cortisol is your master hormone. It's produced in the adrenals, and it reacts for a lot of different reasons. Its primary goal functions, I'm sorry, not goals. Your primary functions are the immune response, blood pressure, blood glucose levels, and anti-inflammatory. Okay, so it does have a big impact on the inflammation process that's going on in your body. It actually comes in when we have stress or we have inflammation, and it tends to calm the immune response so that it doesn't act as delayed. The gut also does that. So I'm going to get into, we don't want to do that. I'm locking you out here. Sorry, guys. I have to share my screen. I'm not used to giving presentations like this. Usually I just talk, but this is going to keep me on track. It's going to make everything flow better. And I hope to have time at the end where I can really answer any questions that you may be having. And I did put together a 7-day diet that really helps you achieve what I'm trying to teach you here today. Okay, so this is the objectives we're going to be covering: pain and inflammation, their impact on overall health, the link between pain and inflammation and your gut, foods that reduce pain and inflammation, foods that lower those cortisol levels, practical tips for incorporating anti-inflammatory foods into your daily life, and the bonus, if we have time, is to link the link between pain and inflammation and weight loss. Okay, so these are all connected. They all have a very symbiotic relationship. And if it's affecting your gut, it's having an impact on all of your health. So Pain is subjective, as I said earlier, and it can vary in severity and duration. It could be acute, subchronic, brief, or long-term. Inflammation is a natural process that occurs when the body is exposed to the harmful stimuli, which I said earlier. It's a crucial part of the body's defense mechanisms, helping remove harmful agents and promote tissue repair. But when inflammation becomes chronic, it actually causes tissue destruction, and it contributes to the development of chronic diseases. So when I speak of chronic diseases, I've listed some here, like cardiovascular, type 2 diabetes, and cancer, but it also creates IBS, arthritis, osteoarthritis, rheumatoid arthritis, autoimmune diseases, because again, this all goes back to the gut. It also causes neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer and dementia. So all of these things have a very big impact on our day-to-day life. So we want to control the pain and the inflammation in whatever way we can. So this is, I think I can move this. Yes, I can. Ooh, I'm going to put you over there for a minute. So chronic pain, this is the impact that it has on overall health. Chronic pain can have a negative impact on physical, mental, and emotional well-being. It leads to reduced quality of life and disability. Chronic pain leads to inflammation and vice versa. So the inflammation causes pain, but pain can cause inflammation. So they work together. You'll hear some people say that not all diseases that have inflammation, that have pain, have inflammation, but they have swelling. If you look up their definition, it says swelling at the site. So swelling cannot occur if there's not inflammation. So a lot of times there's misrepresentation of what people are saying, and it leaves people stumped. So I hope this clears a little of that up. So decreased motility in your gut and decreased blood flow are side effects of inflammation. So the ability to move your bowels and things like that will decline, and there's no real blood flow getting into your gut if the inflammation is chronic in your body. Chronic pain causes stress, anxiety, and depression, and it leads to an increase in inflammation. Inflammation contributes to the development of chronic pain because it sensitizes the nerves and amplifies the pain signals. Hope I'm not losing everybody. Everybody following? Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So it leads to reduced mobility. It places people at increased risks for falls. Physical activity is declined. Inflammation contributes to the development of chronic diseases, and these are the osteoarthritis and the things that I spoke of. Reduced mobility will in turn lead to atrophy of your muscles. If you do not use the muscles, you will lose it. You'll lose the ability to use those muscles. So it leads to leaky gut syndrome, which is dysbiosis, an imbalance of the gut bacteria. Inflammation causes the bad bacteria to raise and the good bacteria to decline. That's how that happens. So prolonged exposure to stress weakens your immune system, and it inhibits the body's ability to eliminate the viruses and the bacteria. So stress, remember, is caused by that cortisol. So when your cortisol levels are continually high, and this continued stress, it will reduce the efficacy of the immune system that it is responsible to help. So this results in inflammation and leaky gut. It's an inflammatory condition that has been linked to metabolic disorders, autoimmune conditions, and even mental health. Okay, so I'll try to slow down. I know I speak quickly. That's why another reason why I have this slide, it makes me slow down. So gut health plays a critical role. This is the link to gut microbiome. So gut microbiome is really all the bacteria, viruses, and everything collectively is called the gut microbiome. So we have bacteria, viruses, and fungi in our body all the time that actually are there for benefit. So this collectively makes up the gut microbiome. So a healthy gut microbiome is essential for proper immune function, digestion, and absorption of nutrients. When the gut microbiome is out of balance, it can lead to inflammation and pain and every other disease processes. The gut microbiome can influence brain function and mood, which can affect your pain perception. One of the ways the gut microbiome influences inflammation is through the production of short-chain fatty acids. These happen when gut bacteria ferment dietary fiber. Those are your prebiotics and those whole foods. These compounds have anti-inflammatory properties, and they can help reduce the pain and inflammation. So your gut is instrumental in that process as well. Your gut regulates all of your essential hormones. When out of balance, dysregulation and hormonal imbalance will occur. So this is cortisol. This is how cortisol really comes into play. So this is produced in the adrenal glands in response to stress and how it works with inflammation. So your cortisol levels naturally fluctuate throughout the day. They're always highest in the morning and lower at night. They have a significant impact on affecting many different physiological processes. It helps regulate your blood sugar levels, blood pressure, your immune system, and many other things. Cortisol has potent anti-inflammatory effects and can help reduce inflammation in the body when the hormone is in balance. When cortisol levels remain elevated for an extended period, it can lead to chronic inflammation, which can contribute to the pain and the other health problems that we discussed. So, okay, I gotta see where I am. The blind girl says. So cortisol, this is all of what it does, the immune functions and things. I made this very quickly this morning to stifle me from blah, blah, blah. So, pardon me that if there's some duplicates here, okay? So the impact on inflammation with cortisol. These are positive effects because cortisol is not all negative. It has a lot of positive effects in our body, like the regulation of our immune system, blood pressure, and blood sugar levels. So it's crucial in your role, the body's role to respond to stress. Acute stress and elevated cortisol levels will help reduce pain and inflammation by suppressing the immune system response. This is its natural role, cortisol. But when chronic stress and elevated cortisol are at play, chronic inflammation will ensue. So some of the negative effects of cortisol on the body are high cortisol levels cause reduction in the body's natural painkillers. Those are those endorphins that I spoke of earlier. So this will make pain feel more intense than it is, and it's harder to manage. Chronic stress and elevated cortisol levels have been linked to a host of health problems: anxiety, depression, obesity, diabetes, and cardiovascular disease. So now we're going to move into the benefits of inflammatory foods. So we're talking about your fruits, your vegetables, your whole grains. So these are foods that are high in antioxidants, high in vitamins, and high in anti-inflammatory capabilities. They protect us against free radicals, and they help remove oxidative stress from our body. And they really provide a lot of benefits against the toxins that are in the environment that we really don't have any control over. So they are known to reduce the likelihood of cancers and things like that, because they do keep the body in a calm state. It helps the body work together, because when inflammation is happening in your body, it's throwing everything off balance. So your hormones, your gut health, as we just discussed, and when your gut health and your hormones are out of balance, that's going to affect everything else that's going on in your body, because your cortisol is your master hormone. So if that's not working correctly because you have extreme high stress levels, that's going to affect the messages that it sends to all the other hormones in your body. It's not going to send what it should be sending. It's going to send a message that's coming from something that's not working, if that makes sense. So if you have heart disease and you have inflammation, you're at higher risk for endocarditis and pericarditis and all those itises. And that the same thing happens in your digestive tract, those colitises and things like that. They are all directly connected to inflammation in the body. So the more we can control our stress and reduce the inflammation in our body, whether there's pain present or not, pain and inflammation go together. They work together in that symbiotic relationship I spoke of earlier, as do the cortisol and the gut health. So if we can even manage just 2 of these, our best bet is our gut health, okay? And our stress, because these 2 have the biggest impact on everything that's going on in your body. Stress is the biggest contributor to all diseases. And if your gut health is off, that's going to affect your brain, your heart, your immunity, and everything else that's going on in your body. So we want to, just by repairing your gut, you can actually reduce the pain and the inflammation that's been in your body. Even if it's something that's been chronic and has been there a long time, adding more anti-inflammatory foods into your diet and more dietary products that are like good for prebiotics and probiotics, like kefir and tempeh and things like that improve gut health. These are going to work together, and it may take some time if you've had an imbalance for a long time. Sometimes it can take a month. Sometimes you'll see effects immediately, especially if you've been eating clean. There are some people that eat really well. They are those people that love fruits, vegetables, and all that. They are those people that are vegan, like my friend Lou Hoppe here. So, and she started that journey because of other disease processes, and these things progressively got better. So by incorporating more of these things into your life on a day-to-day basis, some people it's a difficult transition, but it's absolutely one of the healthiest things that you can do short term and long term, because what you do today is going to impact all of your tomorrows. So some of the benefits that I've listed here are the improvement in brain function, the improvement in heart health, gut health, better immune function, reduces the risk of cancer. The ones for the gut, like the inflammation in the gut, that's specific to colorectal, but inflammation in the body is connected to several different kinds of cancer. Many are high in fiber, which further improves the heart and the digestive health, because if you're straining at that stool, that's having an impact on your heart function, you know. So you really need to make sure these 2 work together. They are symbiotic. So antioxidant and vitamin rich, protecting against free radicals and oxidative stress, as we had mentioned. So some more benefits are reducing inflammation. Anti-inflammatory foods contain nutrients and compounds that help to reduce inflammation in the body. It improves your heart health. Foods have shown to improve heart health by reducing inflammation and lowering the risk of heart disease. Improves brain function. Chronic inflammation has been linked to cognitive decline and increase of neurodegenerative diseases. Anti-inflammatory foods can help to improve brain function and reduce the risk of these diseases. Improved gut health can help to improve the gut health by reducing inflammation in the gut and promoting the growth of beneficial good bacteria. So when your gut is in alignment, it's promoting good bacteria rather than the bad bacteria, because that's all leaky gut really is. That the bad bacteria has overrun the good bacteria, so it's making it impossible for your body to really perform what it needs to, the digestive processes, to absorb the nutrients, because when the bad bacteria overruns it, that inflammation occurs. So there's decreased blood flow, there's decreased motility, and that's going to really impact everything else that's going on in your body because your gut health is connected to everything. So foods that decrease your cortisol levels naturally, because I'm all about doing things naturally. So these are the same things that reduce the inflammation. So a lot of times you'll see me post stuff and you'll see that they overlap, but because what's good for one really is good for everything in your body. It's really creating lasting benefits for your whole body. It doesn't just have one function, just like cortisol doesn't have one function, or your gut doesn't have one function, or your brain doesn't have one function. Neither do the foods that we put in to support them. So whole grains and your fruits and vegetables, dark chocolates, big for me, green tea, avocados, bananas, legumes. So you have those healthy fats, the fish, the salmon, the mackerel, things like sardines, which I'm not fond of. Nuts, such as almonds and walnuts, those probiotic rich foods like yogurt and kefir. Prebiotics are your fruits, your vegetables, and your whole grains, and water. So, which I need a sip of. So it's very easy to say what these foods are, but when you sit down and you try to imagine what you're going to prepare to actually incorporate these things, that's where everybody gets lost. So a typical snack for me, if I'm stressed, is avocado toast with some nuts. I break up some nuts, walnuts, or anything like that. I know I'm getting those healthy fats in there. Usually I'll add an egg. I love protein, and I love avocados with anything. So, but this is an example of a cortisol lowering snack. And something that reduces your inflammation is going to reduce your cortisol because they work together. Your cortisol activates when there's an infection, when there's stress, when there's inflammation in the body. Cortisol is present during all of those things. So if you reduce those things, the cortisol doesn't act, and it reduces the inflammation, and it helps support the immune response to all those things that trigger it. So I don't know where this is. Better immune function. Oh, I think this was supposed to be up there. So this is just telling you about more benefits, like foods rich in antioxidants. They help to protect the body from damage caused by free radicals, which we had discussed. So there's a little repetition here. Sometimes I repeat myself when I'm stressed. so I did this quick today. So these are some of the benefits. Lowering risk of cancer, of course, immune function. So these are practical tips to really incorporate more anti-inflammatory foods. So one of the best way that you can do this, spices are great for anti-inflammatory. There's also a lot of spices that really do reduce cortisol. So I add spices to everything. The salt and pepper is very old wave. The more spices that you can add, your ginger, your turmeric. If you're adding turmeric, a lot of people don't realize that turmeric is activated better in conjunction with pepper. It makes the turmeric stronger. So you'll get better effects and higher anti-inflammatory properties when you add something basic like pepper. So it's good to add those into smoothies. I love to make soups or stews, and I have those all year round. I think those are great if you have a busy life. A lot of us here are entrepreneurs, so we do live busy lives. Making a soup or a stew that we could just take out of the freezer or the refrigerator, and you can have it for a couple of days. So that you could freeze it, and 2 days from now, if you want soup or even salads are very quick and easy. You can have like a kale salad with spinach. If you're not big on kale, you can do it with arugula or any of those other green leafy vegetables are good. The only thing with kale and a lot of green vegetables are if you have any problems with blood clotting or anything like that, you do have to be mindful of those green leafy vegetables, because these do counteract Coumadin or any of those medications that you're on. I see two things in the chat. Andra, have you started your slideshow yet? Oh, can you not see it? Oh, okay. So
that was at the very
okay.
beginning. I couldn't see it, but now, yes, we can. Yeah, we can see it.
I'm sorry. Okay. So, soup, stir fries, you know, food has gotten very expensive. I'm a practical kind of girl. I'm also frugal. I'm not going to pay more money for something that I've already bought or that I don't have to. So I like to use those vegetables on Thursday and Friday that might be starting to wilt a little, and I'll throw them into those soups and those stews, or I'll throw them into a stir fry. For lunch today, I had gluten-free pasta with zucchini, Brussels sprouts, carrots, cauliflower, and I just threw it all together in a stir fry with some vegetable protein that I love, and it was out of this world. And my husband, who used to be a big meat eater, if you would have told me 5 years ago, 10 years ago, that I would get him to eat this, I would have said no way. But I've been sticking it into his body for at least 5-10 years now. He doesn't even know, you know? And when I told him, he was like, this isn't bad. This is really good stuff. He loves it. So there's always quick ways to really add these things in. But you have to stick with it. So you can't have anti-inflammatory foods this week and next week go back to eating processed foods and stuff like that. It doesn't work. It does take some conditioning. So if someone's just starting out on a plant-based diet, my suggestion would be to look for things that you like, that you can consider yourself having all the time. If you're a salad person, salads are great, especially with the seasons, because you could really, I mean, you know, if you're not vegan, total vegan, you could have chicken or those proteins, those vegetable proteins, or beans and lentils, especially red lentils are great. You could add strawberries in season, watermelon, pecans, cranberries, anything to a salad and really change it. You could put quinoa in there. There's so many things you can do with a salad. Salad's just not lettuce, tomatoes, and cucumbers anymore. It's really amped up, you know? And then you just make a very healthy dressing, you know, either olive oil and vinegar or even a honey mustard with, you can make with, like Dijons that are organic Dijons, and add some lemon. It's very quick, easy stuff that you could do. I buy a really great one from Trader Joe's. It's green goodness, I think it's called. I love it. So I couldn't believe it tastes that good and it's healthy.
Green Goddess.
Green Goddess, yeah. Green, I thought it was green goodness. So I'm close. It's good though. So these are some of the ways, because I see we have time. These are some of the ways that pain and inflammation really sabotage your weight loss efforts, okay? So a lot of people don't think of inflammation as getting in the way of losing weight, but it really does, because if you have pain and inflammation, it's going to make you more sedentary. You're not going to want to get up and exercise or make those healthy meals. So it is going to affect your lifestyle in that way. But it also leads to insulin resistance. So your body doesn't see it becomes less responsive to the insulin. So your insulin levels will rise and remain elevated, and that is going to store weight around the midsection. That's that belly fat that we all want to get rid of. So that's the insulin resistant is responsible for that, as well as cortisol. There's some other things that play here, like your growth hormone and stuff like that, but these two play a big factor. Because growth hormone, testosterone, all those things also play a role in belly fat, but that's a whole nother session. So reduced activity, as I just mentioned, but inflammation can affect your metabolism. Cortisol is that adrenal hormone, so anything that really is created or impacts your adrenals is going to affect your metabolism, because your adrenals are part of that metabolic process. It's your kidneys, your liver, your adrenals, your thyroid. They all work together. A lot of people think of metabolism as the thyroid, and it's really a collection of 5 systems that support each other and work together to really get you to those results. So, and the cortisol is that stress hormone. It increases your appetite for high calorie foods. Cortisol makes you crave sweets, sugary foods, things like that. And especially ones that are really high in carbohydrates, your body craves sugar. And that would be those carbohydrates. So managing inflammation and reducing stress and maintaining healthy cortisol levels can really help support your weight loss too. Okay, so that really concludes the slide presentation. So I'm going to come back to you guys and see where we're at. Can you all hear me? Okay, so was that a lot of information?
It was a lot of information, but it was a lot of good information that so many people don't know all the interconnections of things and how they all interact. So I think you gave a really good idea of how that works. Another thing that for foods as well, when I first started out, I've been a vegan for about 8 years now. When I first started out, I joked that just about everything I had was in a bowl. We hadn't seen a plate in weeks because I'd put everything in bowls, so like salads and soups, but also Buddha bowls, what they call Buddha bowls. And it's that, that idea of putting all kinds of different things together, avocados and beans and quinoa and everything all in a bowl. So that's another idea to throw out there.
I love them, the AK berry bowls too, I call them. I make them with berries and oatmeal and stuff like that. And they're absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
The thing we want to really watch though is when we're eating out, because we really can't prevent eating out. There are situations where we're just stuck and we don't have anything with us. You mean to carry healthy snacks, or your friends just want to go out to eat. It's a way of mingling and networking. So there are going to be times like that. So you really have to make healthy choices. Not adding those dressings and stuff to the salads, because what they're making and what you prepare at home is very different. You can have a salad out and it could be about 3,000 calories. Now, calories in, calories out is not what everybody thinks it is. It really doesn't have any effects on weight gain like people think it does. But 3,000 calories, if you're a sedentary, it will impact it, because you can eat healthy. Some people eat healthy and they still gain weight, so if you're having 7,000 calories, that's when calories count. If you're having 7,000 calories and you're not exercising and you're having them all in one meal, that's not a good thing. If you're having that same 7,000 calories over the course of a day and you're feeding your body and telling your body to, hey, I'm giving you food, because your body really goes into fat storage when it doesn't have food. When you threaten it and tell it, uh-oh, you're not getting food, that's when your body goes into fat storage. And you hear a lot today that people tell you to cut your calories and go to the gym, and that actually works against your body. It tells your body that you're in crisis mode. It goes right into fat storage and stops producing those thyroid hormones that you need so desperately to really help you on that metabolic journey. So it's not so much about really decreasing calories. It's making better choices in the calories that we're consuming, healthy choices and how they support us, and really stretching them throughout the day. Because the more you give your body, the more equipped it is to really break down the nutrients and things that you need. It's going to process it better. You should treat your body like you would treat your best friend. You really should. And, a lot of people think about, that things happen over 40 or over 50. There's no evidence to suggest that. Just because you're 40 years old or you're menopausal doesn't mean that your hormones start breaking down and everything goes to pot. It's really based on the diet that and your lifestyle for all those years that have really contributed to that. Some people go through a very easy menopause. I certainly did, but that's because I was eating the foods that were supporting me at that time of my life. If it would have happened 10 years older, oh, I don't know. I probably would have hung myself because I was eating very different then. So it really does have a big impact. And your food is like the best medicine because doctors give you a lot of medications, pain medications and things like that, and they really do have an impact on your gut health. Those ibuprofens, those Tylenols, antibiotics, or anything like that, even those antidepressants, I would never tell somebody if they needed a medication not to take it, but we should be very mindful when we go to doctors because doctors often, that's always their first go-to, oh, your cholesterol's high. And Lou, you know that all too full well. You go to the doctor and your cholesterol levels are up, and right away they want to put you on Lipitor or Zocor, and they don't say to you, try diet. This is what you have to do. I need you to reduce your fat intake, maybe stay away from meat for a little while, eat more fruits and vegetables, and I'll see you in 3 months. They want to hand you a pill right away. These pills all have side effects. It does cause kidney effects and liver problems, so do we want them? Things like Celebrex that they give you for pain leads to kidney disease, and so do we really want to be just at their disposal? So I love educating people on what's going on because I think that the more the more likely you are to question. I am that person that questions everything. If my mother said front, why? Because I said so. Why do you say so? That's just who I was. I was defiant as the day was long, and everything had to have a reason that I could understand. Otherwise, I couldn't accept it. And as a nurse, we have to understand the rationale for everything. So I guess I found myself in a position that really supported my craziness. So because it's done me well. But so, do you have any questions about anything that we covered? Anyone? Shelby, you're very quiet over there, doctor.
That's okay. I'm listening.
So I'm gonna let me see if I gotta stop touching that button. This computer is very different from my old computer. So I'm gonna pull up the chat a minute. And this way I can add a file here. Let's see, is this it? File. Your computer. Let's go to downloads. 7-day, right? Okay. No, wait, that's it. So this is a PDF that you guys can download. This tells you things that you should really start eating. And this is all evidence-based. I always consult my books and stuff. I don't pretend to, I've been in healthcare a long time, but I am aging too, so we forget things. It's been, I'm not always working with someone on gut health. I'm not always working with someone on mobility. I have different roles, I work a lot with kids now, so certainly they're not concerned about their gut motility. So I always research and recheck my facts because things are changing all the time. And I really studied a lot of this stuff for the 15 years that I struggled for decades with I was really, really sick. And it all came back to my gut. And there were so many people that really didn't understand gut health and what was going on that I was just dismissed. I was treated like I was crazy or that I was a hypochondriac or there wasn't a problem. No, your thyroid's fine. But how is it fine? I had hyper, it doesn't just go away. What's the matter here, doc? So and I was a healthcare advisor. So I want people to really be stronger advocates for themselves, And the more knowledge you have, you can do that. I speak to someone on Facebook all the time who has a very sick boy, and the doctors are really kind of dismissing her too, you know, and she said something to me about, like, you know, they have me in and out and they have me in that. She said, so what do I do when they just dismiss me? I said, you tell them what you just told me, that I came here for help and you're dismissing me. And you're not treating the whole child, you're treating the symptoms that I'm telling you. And I don't remember everything when I'm here, but he has this and he has this and he has this, and my son's not getting better, so can you help me more? So you know, doctors are just human, nurses are just human, just like everyone else. And the more information we have, the better we can really help people. You know, what if someone brings us half a puzzle and says, put this together, we can try, but if we know all the pieces, we're going to have better effects in the long run. Okay, so I know that, Mona, you were thinking about doing more plant-based. I highly recommend it. I think that you will see the biggest impact came for me right away was my mood. I found that my mood got so much better. I was giddy. I was happy. I went from someone who was silly, you know, depressed and very cranky, Nurse Ratchet, to laughing and feeling great. I definitely slept better and my energy levels soared, you know, and that was something I don't think I ever experienced with anything else in my health until I really incorporated more plants, you know. And then when I cut out the meat altogether, you know, and switched to plant proteins, that was it. I was like a whole new person, you know. So that'll really help. So if nobody has any questions, yes, go ahead.
So I notice on the 7-day meal plan that you suggest almond milk. It's my understanding that it has lectins in it that can be harmful and contribute to weight gain and other problems. I have recently switched over to coconut milk. Are you aware of any of those kinds of concerns?
I am. I don't think they're big concerns. I think that sometimes people look for problems where there aren't any. I think that so many people have switched to almond milk, and that their almonds are really, are low sourced right now. So they're trying to get people to move to more oat milk and things like that. So there are lectins in it, but I mean, you'll find the same problems in coconut. I mean, coconut is very fatty too. Is it a healthy fat? Yes, but coconut milk, coconut water, you're gonna have the same thing with that. You can really take apart anything. Coconut, you could even the oat, you know, you could take apart that. And I have both of them. I don't particularly like coconut milk. I use that in one particular smoothie that I make because it calls for it. But other than that, I don't like coconut milk. I don't I've even bought coconut oil because I heard it was really good for you. I found it didn't really taste well. It was very heavy. I don't mind a taste of coconut, but when it overwhelms the food, it's not good for me. I wanted to taste my food. I enjoy eating and cooking so much. You know, I'm off for the next couple of days, and I'm so grateful to get into that kitchen and cook, because when I'm working, I don't get the opportunity at 7 o'clock at night. I don't eat after a certain time. So if I come walking in at 7:30, there'll be no cooking happening that night. Not in my house. So leftovers or salad or yogurt or something like that. But I wouldn't really be too concerned about it, because those lectins are in so many other things. So, but those anti-inflammatories and all those things will combat those oxidative stress and toxins that you're getting from all those things that you shouldn't be eating, because you can do the best that you can do. Like a parent, this is the best example I can give you. A parent can do their best job and raise a child and teach them all well, but at the end of the day, those decisions are up to the parent, to the child, what they're going to do, what they're going to use those lessons with. So it's the same with with food. We can do the very best we can, but there's only certain things that are available to us in society. We are surrounded by an environment that is toxic. We're living in toxic air. If you look at the air levels, they're like red alert. So how healthy is that to be breathing? So we have to really do the best we can for us, because it is a big business. Health and wellness is a big business. It has been a big business. I mean, have you ever seen the Department of Health come out and start talking about health and nutrition? No, but now that it's so big business, now they are. Now it's on Channel 12 News. Now you got all these nutritionists and dietitians showing up saying things that people have been saying forever, because everybody's looking for a piece of the pie, not because they care about the end results. So you have to weigh the goods and the bads, and do your research, you know, and see how it reacts in your body, because almond milk doesn't affect me at all. It actually works better in my body than regular milk. I was that child that would drink a gallon of milk. As I got older, that's the problem. When you have a problem in your gut, when leaky gut occurs in your body, all of the things that used to stay in now leak out into your bloodstream, and your body attacks it just like it would an infection or a virus. So your body starts working against you, and like it does with autoimmune, and you start feeling like crap. So the same thing was happening for me when I was putting those things that I was intolerant to, because those high fat milk products, I mean, look at our children today that are all well developed. We certainly didn't have that problem when I was growing up. It's the hormones and the antibiotics that they're putting in our foods. So some people love regular milk, other people don't. They can't tolerate it. Almond milk does very well for me. If I had regular milk, I would have diarrhea probably for the next 2 weeks, and I would get very gassy and bloated, because I haven't had it in so long and my body doesn't miss it. So look for things that work with your body. When you first start your journey, it's never easy. It's new. It's hard to get used to. So the best thing you could do is really find things that you like and eat more of them, and add things in, try new things, I had celery root the other day in a stir fry. I've never put it in a stir fry. Never. I think I had celery root 2 or 3 times in my whole life, right? So I get from an organic market, delivers right to my door, and I said, all right, let me try this. And I chopped that up. It gave such a beautiful flavoring to that simple meal that it made it like a delicacy. And I was like, wow, I'm so in love with celery root. So just try new things, and don't be afraid. The worst that could happen is you don't like it. No harm, no foul. Okay?
Thank you.
You're very welcome. It was great being, who said try oat milk, you'll never turn back. Oh, I love oat milk. That's what I have too. The oat milk creamer is delicious. It gives coffee a whole different taste. Like, I was having the almond milk in the coffee, and I got oat creamer from Misfits Market by accident, and I never went back. That, she's right. You'll never go back. It's so different. So Dr. Shelby, I'm glad you're here, even if I can't see you.
Yeah, we'll figure that out for next time.
Yeah, I think it was something with the link, because I set it up inside. I disconnected inside of my new platform. It has fail Fridays and things. And I think the problem is that the accountability circle overlapped with this in time.
Okay.
So it knocked one of them out. I think that's what happened. So ladies, if that's it, I'm so glad you joined me today. You can, if you have any questions, by all means, you could reach out. This is recorded, so if you want a copy of the replay, I'll be happy to send it to you. I believe that I have everybody's email here. Okay?
Thank you. What a great presentation.
Thank you so much. Have a great day, ladies.
Thanks, you too.
Bye.